Hey folks, Alan Saunders, Pittsburgh Sports Now here at St. Vincent College, where the Steelers just wrapped up their 10th training camp practice of 2024. We got a fully padded practice after they were just in helmets on Saturday, and Sunday's practice was a run-heavy practice with the team doing goal line, and the first real situational football. We had some 2-minute, but first padded situational football as they went short yardage as well. So a big day in terms of the run game, not as heavy of a workload for the pass game. Also a big day for just updating some injuries, because when they do put the pads on, not everyone can go. It was Roman Wilson. Saw him on campus earlier this morning without the boot on his foot, obviously still not practicing, but a positive sign. Looks like he's working towards a return. Broderick Jones was a full participant in practice today, even though he had that big brace on his right elbow, so it doesn't seem like it's keeping him from practicing. He did tell me on Friday that it is bothering him and keeping him from being effective, but it's not keeping him from practicing. I talked to Pat Meyer before practice today, and he broke down the entire battle at tackle between Jones and Moore and Troy Fautanu. Big story on that coming up later at SteelersNow.com, but just as a preview, he said you're going to see a lot of Broderick Jones at left tackle. That was before practice today. We did see a lot of Broderick Jones at left tackle during practice today, at least more than we've seen in the first 9 sessions, about the 50-50 split that we saw back in OTAs and minicamp for him. Patrick Queen got his second day in a row off with that ankle issue that popped up during Friday Night Lights. I don't believe it's major, but with a big, heavy padded practice today, Kyron Johnson, Jeremiah Moon, and Rodney Williams also all held out. Graylin Arnold made a return to practice after missing the last 2 days. In 7 shots, it was the defense. In fact, it was pretty much the defense all around. This was the first time, I think, that the defense looked better than the offense while everyone was wearing pads. I think the first few padded practices, the defense took advantage. The defense won the day. The offense won the day. This one, it was the defense. The 2 scores, Justin Fields, a corner route to Van Jefferson for a touchdown, and LaMichael Pirine dragged Tyler Murray into the end zone. But I had a Highsmith sack of Fields. I had Isaiah Loudermilk with a tackle for hit Najee Harris in the backfield, and then a tackle for loss on Jalen Warren for Montrevious Adams, the big defensive tackle. As the Steelers defense, I think, did well. They also did well at the same, basically the same idea. They run a goal line period at the end of practice. And it was the defense again there with just 2 scores in 7 reps. Najee Harris and Jalen Warren both diving over the pile. Everything else got shut down, including an interception by young defensive back Ryan Watts. We didn't see a lot of passing, but the passing we did see, we saw a notable thing in what was a team run period. Russell Wilson was out there taking reps, and as he has throughout all of training camp. And to this point, he has just handed them all off. This time, Wilson called an audible. Put the team in a different formation, threw about a 6-yard out route to Deuce Watts in the flat. So we saw the first Russell Wilson pass in team period of training camp. It was not much. After the day off, I think it's reasonable to expect that we're going to see Russell Wilson as a greater participant in Steelers practice moving forward, starting when they return to practice on Tuesday. He looks perfectly healthy. I think they've done a very good job of being patient with it. That calf injury is something that, if you look, there's a strong correlation between lingering calf injuries and Achilles injuries later. I understand the desire to take it easy, and obviously Wilson is not a guy who needs a ton of reps in general, but I think it's about time that we saw what Russell Wilson looks like at the helm of this offense, and I expect to see that when we get back to training camp on Tuesday after Monday's off day. Just a few other notes here from the team stuff. A lot of screen work. I think that is something that we've seen this offense try to be good at in the past, but not necessarily successful. Had a really nice one to George Pickens today. Had a couple to Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. Najee Harris had 2 false start penalties. As we see a lot of this, big, heavy formation. A ton of fullback Jack Colletto today. A ton of 2 tight end. In fact, I would say they were overwhelmingly more often had more than 1 tight end on the field than they had less than 1 tight end on the field. And with the fullback, very frequently only 1 wide receiver out there. So we saw a lot of just George Pickens, a lot of just Van Jefferson. And then with Pat Freiermuth and Washington and Pruitt and Cam Heyward and Colletto mixing in. Obviously, it was a big run day. There was short yardage, so a lot of that makes sense. But I just think when we talk about the Steelers offense, we should almost assume that 2 tight ends are going to be on the field more often than not. Bad snap between Zach Frazier and Kyle Allen. First one of those I've seen in a while, but I thought in general Frazier was very good on the day. One of his better days, won his one-on-one pass reps as well. And I watched a linebacker, running back, coverage drill. Don't get a ton of those, and just wanted to go over there and take a look at it. And man, I think Landon Roberts can still cover. He did a really nice job, but 41, Peyton Wilson, I think, really stood out to me as the winner of that drill. He was drawing Najee Harris, doing a very good job of it, and I think that's a really strong sign for him in that dime linebacker role. I wrote about that this morning at SteelersNow.com. He is going to start the season as the dime linebacker. I think you may see him get some obvious pass down nickel work, for teams that keep normal personnel on the field and say 3rd and 10 or something like that. I still think we're going to see a lot of Landon Roberts in the base defense and in run down nickel, but I do think you're going to see Peyton Wilson start as the dime, very similarly to Joey Porter did last year. Start as the dime and then see how things progress from there. I think the difference is I think Patrick Queen and Landon Roberts are a lot better at playing linebacker right now than Patrick Peterson and Levi Wallace were at playing cornerback last year. So Peyton Wilson's going to have to be even better than Porter was to get more playing time as his rookie year goes on. But I think it's a really good start for him in the dime. And he's really good at pass coverage. He's a player that doesn't mind doing it. And then let's talk about Justin Fields again. I think he had another very solid day. Not perfect, but I feel like he's being decisive. He's getting the ball out. I asked him, are you trying to not run? Are you trying to, because it's practice, because you want your teammates to get work, you want to run the offense? Are you trying to stand there and go through the progressions more deliberately than he might during a regular game? And he said no. He said, I'm just out here doing my thing. He said, maybe there's sometimes where because the defense is not tackling me that I'll just stay in the pocket because they're not going to come as hard. He said, but for the most part, like, our defense does a good job of letting up on the quarterback. They let me feel the pressure. I'm just doing my thing. And I think that's a pretty good sign because I think he's been looking a lot better in terms of running the offense, in terms of getting the ball out. There are still some times where you see him still running around back there and you're like, man, that should have been out somewhere. But I think on the whole, arrow way up for Justin Fields this week. I'm going to write my winners and losers from the second week of Steelers training camp for Monday morning. And the first week, Justin Fields is a loser. I can guarantee you the second week, Justin Fields is going to be on the winners list. He's been much, much, much better. Does that change the dynamic of the quarterback battle? I think we probably need to see Russell Wilson until we can really say anything about that. And I do believe that we are going to see that later in this week. I think that's it for now from St. Vincent College. I'm very much looking forward to the off day on Monday, but we will still have an episode of Steelers Morning Rush with myself and then Steelers Afternoon Drive with myself and Zachary Smith. So make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of the Steelers Now YouTube content here. And then, of course, check out all the stuff at SteelersNow.com. Use the promo code Allen10. Get $10 off for all the best stuff for myself, Derek Bell, Chris Ward, Zachary Smith, the whole rest of the Steelers Now team. All the best stuff is there. And I just want to thank Derek so much for coming out here for 3 days. It was awesome having him. I was lonely on the sideline today, my first solo practice in a while, but I'll have to get used to it as we get back into the swing of things for the rest of this week. Again, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.